Good evening, friends. Pinotuni. Welcome to our online broadcast here from the London Mindfulness Meditation Center. We go live every day at 7 o'clock, sharing our evening Buddha Puja, chanting and meditation with you, especially during this lockdown restriction times. To support your religious commitment or religious practice, which you may be doing daily, worshipping the Buddha, chanting and meditating. So every evening we go live so that you can participate as a practice, commit yourself, and also not just accumulate merit but also develop peace of mind, and especially during these difficult times, stay blessed with good health and happiness. May the chanting or may the compassion of the Buddha embodied in the Paritta Suttas be conducive for complete well-being. So with such righteous intention, we go live sharing our puja with you, chanting and meditation. So today, the puja is sponsored by Mrs. Rosi Veeratunga, widely we call her Rosi Amma, along with her children, Krisanti, Nishanti and Manju, and grandchildren. Would like to remember beloved husband and father and grandfather Christopher Veeratunga, who passed away 6 years ago. So today is the 6th anniversary, and all merit accumulated will be shared and transferred later on after our chanting. May Mr. Veeratunga, who was a very close friend of the venerable monks in the Sri Siddhartha's International Buddhist Center, as well as myself when he was alive, when I was there. All the family were close members with the venerable monks at the Kingsbury Temple, and at times organized many pujas, or even Rosi Amma and Christopher were the family that conducted Bodhi Puja in big halls and inviting Venerable Buddha Dhamma Lokatera then. And so a very close friend of the Sangha and of the Viharas in and around in North London. So the Veeratunga family, Rosi Amma, Krisanti, Nishanti and Manju and grandchildren would like to share merit with the departed beloved husband and father. And we are also joined by Rasika Sashipriya Diogu, who would like to remember his beloved Mother K. Chandra, who passed away 22 years ago. So may she also be blessed with our merit that we are accumulating this evening. So may both Mr. Christopher Veeratunga and Mrs. K. Chandra receive our blessings. May their lives be happy and peaceful wherever they are. May they receive our blessings and elevate any suffering they may be facing or having. Eventually, may they attain the blissful state of Nibbana through the righteous aspirated path. So with such righteous intention, let us worship together this evening. But first, please say Namo Tassa Bhagavato Arahato Samma Sambuddhassa to observe 5 precepts. Buddhaṃ saraṇaṃ gacchāmi, Dhammaṃ saraṇaṃ gacchāmi, Saṅghaṃ saraṇaṃ gacchāmi, Dutiyampi Buddhaṃ saraṇaṃ gacchāmi, Dutiyampi Dhammaṃ saraṇaṃ gacchāmi, Dutiyampi Saṅghaṃ saraṇaṃ gacchāmi, Tatiyampi buddhaṃ saraṇaṃ gacchāmi. Tatiyampi dhammaṃ saraṇaṃ gacchāmi. Tatiyampi saṅghaṃ saraṇaṃ gacchāmi. Pānātipātā vēramaṇī sikkhaපadaṃ samādhiyāmi. Adinādānā vēramaṇī sikkhaපadaṃ samādhiyāmi. Kāmesu miccācārā vēramaṇī sikkhaපadaṃ samādhiyāmi. Musāvādā vēramaṇī sikkhaපadaṃ samādhiyāmi. Surāmēraya majjapamā daṭṭhānā vēramaṇī sikkhaපadaṃ samādhiyāmi. Tisaraṇena saddhiṃ pañcasīlaṃ dhammaṃ sādhukaṃ surakkhitāṃ kattvā appamādena sampādetabbhaṃ. Let's worship the Buddha together. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Itipiso bhagavā arahaṃ samma sambuddho vijjācarana sampanno sugato lokavido anuttaro purisa dhammasārati sattā deva manussānaṃ buddho bhagavāti. Buddhaṃ jīvita pariyantaṃ saraṇaṃ gacchāmi. Ye ca buddhā atītā ca ye ca buddhā anāgatā. Paccuppanā ca ye buddhā ahaṃ vandāmi sabbadā. Natti me saraṇaṃ aññaṃ buddho me saraṇaṃ varaṃ. Etena sacca vajjena hotu me jaya mangalaṃ. Uttamangena vandehaṃ pādapaṃ savaruttamam. Buddheyo khalito dosa buddho khamatu taṃ mamam. Swakkhāto bhagavata dhammo sandittiko akāliko. Ehi passiko opanayiko paccattaṃ veditabbo viññuhīti. Dhammaṃ jīvita pariyantaṃ saraṇaṃ gacchāmi. Ye ca dhamma atītā ca ye ca dhamma anāgatā. Paccuppanā ca ye dhamma නත්ථි මේ සරණං අඤ්ඤං ධම්මෝ මේ සරණං වරං ඒතේන සච්ච වජ්ජේන හෝතු මේ ජය මංගලං උත්තමංගේන වන්දේහං ධම්මං ච ත්‍රිවිධං වරං ධම්මියෝ කලිතෝ දෝසෝ ධම්මෝ කමතු තං මමං සුපටිපන්නෝ භගවතු ශාවක සංඝෝ උජුපටිපන්නෝ භගවතු ශාවක සංඝෝ ඥායපටිපන්නෝ භගවතු ශාවක සංඝෝ සාමීචිපටිපන්නෝ භගවතු ශාවක සංඝෝ යදිදං චත්තාරි පුරිස යුගානි අට්ඨ පුරිස පුග්ගලා ඒස භගවතු ශාවක සංඝෝ ආහුනේය පාහුනේය දක්ඛිනේය අංජලි කරණීය අනුත්තරං පුඤ්ඤක්ඛතං ලෝකස්සාති සංඝං ජීවිත පරියන්තං සරණං ගච්ඡාමි යේච සංඝා අතීතා ච යේච සංඝා අනාගතා පච්චුප්පන්නා ච යේ සංඝා අහං වන්දාමි සම්බදා නත්ථි මේ සරණං අඤ්ඤං සංඝෝ මේ සරණං වරං ඒතේන සච්ච වජ්ජේන හෝතු මේ ජය මංගලං උත්තමංගේන වන්දේහං සංඝං ච ත්‍රිවිධෝත්තමං සංඝේයෝ කලිතෝ දෝසෝ සංඝෝ කමතු තං මමං කනසාරප්පදිත්තේන දීපේන තමදං සිනා තිලෝකදීපං සම්බුද්ධං පූජයාමි තමෝනුදං වන්නගන්ධගුණපේතං ඒතං කුසුම සන්තතින් පූජයාමි මුනින්දස්ස සිරිපාද සරෝරුහේ පූජේමි බුද්ධං කුසුමේන නීන පුඤ්ඤේන මේතේන ච හෝතු මොක්ඛං උප්පං මිලායාති යතා ඉදම්මේ කායෝ තථා යාති විනාශ භාවං අධිවාසේතුනෝ භන්තේ පානීයං පරිකප්පිතං අනුකම්පං උපාදාය පටිගන්හාතු උත්තම අධිවාසේතුනෝ භන්තේ ගිලාන පච්චයං ඉමං අනුකම්පං උපාදාය පටිගන්හාතු උත්තම අධිවාසේතුනෝ භන්තේ භේසජ්ජං පරිකප්පිතං අනුකම්පං උපාදාය පටිගන්හාතු උත්තම අධිවාසේතුනෝ භන්තේ සබ්බං සද්ධාය පූජිතං අනුකම්පං උපාදාය පටිගන්හාතු උත්තම වන්දාමි චේතියං සබ්බං සබ්බකානේසු පතිට්ඨිතං සාරීරික ධාතු මහා බෝධින් බුද්ධ රූපං සකලං සදා යස්ස මූලේ නිසින්නෝව සබ්බාරි විජයං අකා පත්තෝ සබ්බඤ්ඤතං සත්තා Vande tang bodhipadapam ime ete mahabodhi lokanatena pujita ahampite namassami bodhiraja namattute kayena vaca cittena pamadena maya katang acchayang khamami bhante bhuri panye tathagata kayena vaca cittena pamadena maya katang acchayang khamami dhamme sandittika kalika kayena vaca cittena pamadena maya katang acchayang khamami sangha supatipanna anuttara ettavata ca amhehi sambhatang punya sampadang sabbe deva anumodantu sabba sampatti siddhya ettavata ca amhehi sambhatang punya sampadang sabbe bhuta anumodantu sabba sampatti siddhya ettavata ca amhehi sambhatang punya sampadang sabbe satta anumodantu sabba sampatti siddhya idam me ñātīnaṃ hotu sukhitā hontu ñātayo idam me ñātīnaṃ hotu sukhitā hontu ñātayo idam me ñātīnaṃ hotu sukhitā hontu ñātayo imina punya kammene mami bala samagamo satang samagamo hotu yava nibbāna pattiya idam me punyang asavakkaya vahang hotu samba dukkha pamuncatu sadhu sadhu sadhu. So if you have just joined us, you are tuned or you are on this live program, our broadcast here from the London Mindfulness Meditation Center. So we go live every day at 7 o'clock, sharing our Buddha Puja, chanting and meditation. So as usual, we are going to chant Ratana Sutta, wishing you good health and happiness throughout. May you stay blessed, and may you stay blessed with good health and happiness during this time of difficulty. May the virtues of the Triple Gem, may the compassion of the Buddha embodied in the suttas be conducive for your complete well-being and happiness. And if you are or you know someone who is ill, bear them in your thoughts and listen to the chanting, or even share the chanting from our YouTube channel lmmc.online, so that they also can listen to the chanting and develop peace of mind. And also, if they are taking any treatment, may all treatments be successful. If they are ill, may they also have speedy recovery. So the chantings are embodied with the compassion of the Buddha, and if you listen to the chanting with great attention and respect, you will get complete well-being, or you'll be happy and peaceful. So that's why we share our chanting online with you, so that you can participate from home or wherever you are. And after that, today being Thursday, we will do meditation on mindfulness practice. So you can join that after chanting if you are free and wish to do so. So please listen to the chanting with great attention and respect. We dedicate this to all our key workers as usual, including NHS staff, doctors and nurses. May they also be blessed with good health and happiness. May they enjoy good health and also develop courage and determination to continue their valuable services to the nation, and also the patients and their families. So please listen to the chanting with great attention and also dedicate to your loved ones. So if you are joining us and have a Paritta book, you can chant together. We are chanting Ratana Sutta and Jai Paritta. Samanta Cakkavalesu Atra Gacchantu Devata Saddhammang Munirajassa Sunantu Sagga Mokkadam Paritta Kalo Ayang Bhadanta Paritta Kalo Ayang Bhadanta Paritta Dhamma Kalo Ayang Bhadanta Namo Tassa Bhagavato Arahato Samma Sambuddhassa Namo Tassa Bhagavato Arahato Samma Sambuddhassa Namo Tassa Bhagavato Arahato Samma Sambuddhassa Yani Bhutani Samagatani Bhummani Vayani Vayantalikhe Sambeva Bhuta Sumana Bhavantu Atopi Sakkacca Sunantu Bhasitam Tasmahi Bhutani Samita Sabbe Mettam Karote Manusiya Pajaye Divacharatto Chaharanti Baling Tasmahini Rakkata Appamatta Yang kinci vittang idhva hurang va saggesu vayang ratanang panitang Nano samang atti tathagatena idampi buddhe ratanang panitang Etena saccena suvattiyotu Kayang viragang amatang panitang Yadajjaga sakkya muni samahito Natena dhammena samatti kinci idampi dhamme ratanang panitang Etena saccena suvatti hotu Yang buddha setta parivannai sucing samadhimanantari kanyamahu Samadhina tena samona vijjate idampi dhamme ratanang panitang Etena saccena suvatti hotu Ye puggala atta satang pasattha cattari etani yugani hanti Te dakhineya sugatassa savakai te sudinnani mahappalani Idampi sanghe ratanang panitang etena saccena suvatti hotu Yesuppayutta manasa dalhena nikkamino gotama sasanam hi Te pattipatta amatang vigaiha laddha mudha nibbuting bunjamana Idampi sanghe ratanang panitang etena saccena suvatti hotu Yathinda khilo pathaving sito siya chatubhivate bhiya sampakampiyo Tathupamang sappurisang vadami yo variya saccani avecca passati Idampi sanghe ratanang panitang etena saccena suvatti hotu Ye ariya saccani vibhavayanti gambhira panyena sudesitani Kincapi te hanti busappamattana te bhavang attamang adiyanti Idampi sanghe ratanang panitang etena saccena suvatti hotu සහවස්ස දස්සන සම්පදාය තයස්සු ධම්මා ජහිතා භවන්ති සක්කාය දිට්ඨි විචිකිච්ඡිතං ච සීලබ්බතං වාපි යදත්ති කිංචි චතුහ පායේහි ච විප්පමුත්තෝ ච චාබිඨානානි අබබ්බෝ කාතුං ඉදම්පි සංඝේ රතනං පනීතං ඒතේන සච්චේන සුවත්ති හෝතු කිංචාපිසෝ කම්මං කරෝති පාපකං කායේන වාචා උදචේතසාවා අබබ්බෝසෝ තස්ස පටිච්චාදාය අබබ්බතා දිට්ඨ පදස්ස වුත්තා ඉදම්පි සංඝේ රතනං පනීතං ඒතේන සච්චේන සුවත්ති හෝතු වනප්පගම්බේ යතහා පුස්සිතග්ගේ ගිම්හාන මාසේ පඨමස්මින් ගිම්හේ තතපමං ධම්ම වරං අදේසයි නිබ්බාන ගාමින් පරමං හිතාය ඉදම්පි බුද්ධේ රතනං පනීතං ඒතේන සච්චේන සුවත්ති හෝතු වරෝ වරඤ්ඤෝ වරදෝ වරාහරෝ අනුත්තරෝ ධම්ම වරං අදේසයි ඉදම්පි බුද්ධේ රතනං පනීතං ඒතේන සච්චේන සුවත්ති හෝතු කීනං පුරාණං නවං නත්ති සම්භවං විරත්ත චිත්තා ආයතිකේ භවස්මින් තේකීන බීජා අවිරුල්හිච්ඡන්දා නිබ්බන්ති දීරා යථායං පදීපෝ ඉදම්පි සංඝේ රතනං පනීතං ඒතේන සච්චේන සුවත්ති හෝතු යානීද භූතානි සමාගතානි බුම්මානි වායානි වයන්තලික්කේ තථාගතං දේව මනුස්ස පූජිතං බුද්ධං නමස්සාම සුවත්ති හෝතු යානීද භූතානි සමාගතානි බුම්මානි වායානි වයන්තලික්කේ තථාගතං දේව මනුස්ස පූජිතං ධම්මං නමස්සාම සුවත්ති හෝතු යානීද භූතානි සමාගතානි බුම්මානි වායානි වයන්තලික්ඛේ තථාගතං දේව මනුස්ස පූජිතං සංඝං නමස්සාම සුවත්ති හෝතු ඒතේන සච්ච වජ්ජේන දුක්ඛා උපසමෙන්තු තේ ඒතේන සච්ච වජ්ජේන භයා උපසමෙන්තු තේ ඒතේන සච්ච වජ්ජේන රෝගා උපසමෙන්තු තේ සිරිදිති මති තේජෝ ජය සිද්ධි මහිද්දි මහා ගුණං අපරිමිත පුඤ්ඤාධිකාරස්ස සබ්බන්තරාය නිවාරණ සමත්තස්ස භගවතෝ අරහතෝ සම්මා සම්බුද්දස්ස ද්වත්තිං සමහා පුරිස ලක්ඛනානුභාවේන අසිත්‍යනු ව්‍යංජන ලක්ඛනානුභාවේන අට්ඨතර සත මංගල ලක්ඛනානුභාවේන සබ්බන්නරං ස්යානුභාවේන කේතුමාලානුභාවේන දස පාරමිතානුභාවේන දස උපපාරමිතානුභාවේන දස පරමත්ථ පාරමිතානුභාවේන සීල සමාධි පඤ්ඤානුභාවේන බුද්ධානුභාවේන ධම්මානුභාවේන සංඝානුභාවේන තේජානුභාවේන ඉද්ධානුභාවේන බලානුභාවේන ඤෙය්‍ය ධම්මානුභාවේන චතුරාසීති සහස්ස ධම්මක්ඛන්ධානුභාවේන නවලෝකුත්තර ධම්මානුභාවේන අට්ඨංගික මග්ගානුභාවේන අට්ඨ සමාපත්ත්‍යානුභාවේන ඡල විඤ්ඤානුභාවේන මෙත්තා කරුණා මුදිතා උපේක්ඛානුභාවේන සබ්බ පරිත්තානුභාවේන රතනත්තය සරණානුභාවේන ත්‍විහං සබ්බ රෝග ශෝක උපද්දව දුක්ඛ දෝමනස්ස පායාසා විනස්සන්තු සබ්බ අන්තරායාපි විනස්සන්තු සබ්බ සංකප්පා ත්‍විහං සමිජ්ජන්තු දීඝායුකෝ හෝතු සතවස්ස ජීවේන සමංගිකෝ හෝතු සබ්බදා ආකාශපම්බත වනභූමි තටාක ගංගා මහා සමුද්ද ආරක්කක දේවතා සදාතුම් හේ අනුරක්ඛන්තු සබ්බ බුද්ධානුභාවේන සබ්බ ධම්මානුභාවේන සබ්බ සංඝානුභාවේන බුද්ධ රතනං ධම්ම රතනං සංඝ රතනං තින්නං රතනානං ආනුභාවේන චතුරාසීති සහස්ස ධම්මක්ඛන්ධානුභාවේන පිටකත්තයානුභාවේන ජිනසාවකානුභාවේන සබ්බේතේ රෝගා සබ්බේතේ භයා සබ්බේතේ අන්තරායා සබ්බේතේ උපද්දවා සබ්බේතේ දුන්නිමිත්තා සම්බේතේ අවමංගලා විනස්සන්තු ආයු වඩ්ඩකෝ ධන වඩ්ඩකෝ සිරි වඩ්ඩකෝ යස වඩ්ඩකෝ බල වඩ්ඩකෝ වන්න වඩ්ඩකෝ සුඛ වඩ්ඩකෝ හෝතු සබ්බදා දුක්ඛ රෝග භයා වේරා සෝකා සබ්බේ පද්දවා අනේකා අන්තරායාපි විනස්සන්තු ච තේජසා ජය සිද්ධි ධනං ලාභං සොත්ති භාග්‍යං සුඛං බලං සිරියායුච වන්නෝ ච භෝගං බුද්ධි ච යසවා සතවස්සාච ආයුච ජීව සිද්ධි භවන්තු තේ ආකාසට්ඨා ච බුම්මට්ඨා දේවා නාග මහිද්దికා පුඤ්ඤන්තං අනුමෝදිත්වා චිරං රක්ඛන්තු ලෝක සාසනං ආකාසට්ඨා ච බුම්මට්ඨා දේවා නාග මහිද්దికා පුඤ්ඤන්තං අනුමෝදිත්වා චිරං රක්ඛන්තු ධම්ම දේශනං ආකාසට්ඨා ච බුම්මට්ඨා දේවා නාග මහිද්దికා පුඤ්ඤන්තං අනුමෝදිත්වා චිරං රක්ඛන්තු මං පරන්ති සාදු 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 ඉතින් අද දවසේ විහාරස්ථානයේ ලන්ඩන් විදර්ශනා භාවනා මධ්‍යස්ථානයේ සන්ධ්‍යා භාගයේ පවත්වන දිනපතා පවත්වන පූජාවේ කාර්මික දායකත්වයේ දරන්නේ රෝසි විරිතුංග මෑණියන් තමගේ දරුවන් ක්‍රිසන්ති ශාන්ති සම්මංජු සහ මුනුබුරු මිනිබිරියන් යාළු මිත්‍රාදීන් සමගින් බලාපොරොත්තු වන්නේ මීට වසර 6කට පමණ ඉහතදී අභාව ප්‍රාප්ත වන්නට යෙදෙනු ඒ දයාබර ස්වාමි පුරුෂයාණන් දයාබර පියාණන් වහන්සේ ක්‍රිස්ටෝෆර් විරිතුංග මහත්මයාට සාංසාරික වශයෙන් පින්පෙත් අනුමෝදන් කරන්නට ඉතින් ඒ දායක පවුල ගොඩක් විහාරස්ථානෙට කිට්ටුවේ ඒ වගේම විහාරස්ථානයේ නොයෙකුත් පින්කම් වලට උපකාර කරනවා. ඉතින් ඒ ක්‍රිස්ටෝෆර් මහත්මයා කිංස්බරි විහාරස්ථානයේ ඉන්න කාලේදී ගොඩක් විහාරස්ථාන මුල් කරගෙන පින්කම් ගොඩක් කළා. ඒ වගේම ඒ අසනීප තත්වයේ සිටියන් පස්සේ ඒ රෝසි අම්මා දිගටම ඒ මහත්මයා ලරුවනුත් ඒ මහත්මයා බලා කියාගෙන අපි කොහොමදත් ඒ විහාර නිවසවල ගොඩක් පින්කම් කරලා තිබුණා මහත්මයා වෙනුවෙනුත්. ඉතින් අද දවසේ මේ කොවිඩ් නීති වලට යට වෙමින් අපි විහාරස්ථාන වල එකතු වෙන්න බැරි නිසා මේ නව තාක්ෂණය තුලින් කරන පූජාවේ දායකත්වය දරාගෙන ඒ මහත්මයාට සාංසාරික වශයෙන් පින්පෙත් අනුමෝදන් කරන්න බලාපොරොත්තු වෙනවා. ඉතින් අද දවසේ ඒ දායකත්වය දැරීමෙන් ගිලම්පස බුද්ධ පූජාවේ දායකත්වය දැරීමෙන් පූජාව පැවැත්වීමෙන් පන්සල් සමාදන් වීමෙන් ඒ වගේම පිරිත් සූත්‍ර ධර්ම දේශනාවට අහුම්කම් දීමෙන් ඒවා අනික් අයට අසන්නට සලසා දීමේ දායකත්වයේ ධර්ම දානය තුලින් අත්පත් කරගත්තා වූ පින් තව සුළු මොහොතකින් භාවනා කරනවා නම් ඒ පිනුත් හේතු කොටගෙන ඒ මහත්මා යම් කිසිදින් සංසාරයේ අභව්‍ය ස්ථානික සිටිනවා නම් දුකටපත් සිටිනවා නම් එයින් අත මිදී සැප ළඟා කරගනිත්වා සැපෙන් සිටිනවා නම් ඒ සැපතවත් වර්ධනය කරගනිත්වා ඒ වගේම සංසාරික ජීවිතය සපොත් කරගෙන කෙලවර ප්‍රාර්ථනා කරන බෝධියකින් උතුම් අමා මහ නිවන් සුවය සාක්ෂාත් කරගන්නට ඒ පින් හේතු වාසනා වේවා කියලා අපේ කවුරුත් සාදුකාරයක් දීලා පුණ්‍යානුමෝදනා වෙමු සාදු සාදු සාදු. ඒ වගේම රසික සශිප්‍රිය මහත්මයා ඒ තමන්ගේ දයාබර මෑණියන් වහන්සේ අභාව ප්‍රාප්ත වුණු තීදලා අදට වසර 27ක් සම්පූර්ණ වෙනවා. ඉතින් මේ මෑණියන් වහන්සේටත් පින්පෙත් අනුමෝදන් කරන්න විහාරස්ථානයේ අද දවසේ දහවල් දානේ පූජා කළා. ඒ දානේ පූජා කිරීමෙනුත් ඒ වගේම විහාරස්ථානයේ නොයෙකුත් වැඩ කටයුතු සම්බන්ධ වී උදව් උපකාර කරන මහත්මයා තමන්ගේ දයාබර මෑණියන් වහන්සේ වෙනුවෙන් අද දවසේ දවල් දානේ පූජා කරලා ඒ වගේම ඒ මෑණියන් වහන්සේ වෙනුවෙන් නොයෙකුත් පින්කම් කරලා තිබෙනවා. විහාරස්ථානයේට ගරු බණ්ඩ පූජා කරලා තිබෙනවා. ඒ සෑම පින්වල ආනුභාවයෙන් ඒකේ චන්ද්‍රා මාතාවට සංසාරික වශයෙන් සැප ළඟා වේවා. ඒ අභව්‍ය ස්ථානයක දුකටපත් සිටිනවා නම් එයින් අත මිදී සැප ළඟා කරගනිත්වා සැපෙන් සිටිනවා නම් ඒ මෑණියන් වහන්සේත් සැප වර්ධනය කොටගෙන අපට ආශිර්වාද කරත්වා සංසාරික ජීවිතය සපොත් කරගෙන කෙලවර ප්‍රාර්ථනා කරන බෝධියකින් උතුම් අමා මහ නිවන් සුවය සාක්ෂාත් කරගන්නට ඒ පින් හේතු වාසනා වේවා. මේ සන්ධ්‍යා භාගීය පවතුව බුද්ධ පූජාවත් ඒ පන්සිල් සමාදන් වීමෙනුත් පිරිසුතර ධර්ම සියල්ලන්ටම අවුංකම් අසන්නට ලැබෙන සැලසීමෙන් භාවනා කිරීමෙන් ආදී පින්කම් වලින් අත්පත් කරගත්තා පින් හේතු වාසනා වේවායි කියලා අපි කවුරුත් සාදුකාරයක් දීලා පුණ්‍යානුමෝදනා වෙමු. සාදු සාදු සාදු. So we are now going to do meditation. This is our weekly session. So this normally goes until around 8:30. So every Thursday we do meditation, focusing a little bit on aspect of mindfulness and then practicing about half an hour. So we have gradually increased our timing. So if you were not joining last week, we slightly discussed about the nature of the mind. So a quick recap and then we will do meditation. As we all know, we are a product or we are a component or we are an entity of two phenomena, so body and mind. So mind functions quite differently, and sometimes mind functions all by itself alone. Yet we also have a body which we pay more attention than the mind. We pay a lot of attention to the body, but it is the mind that we have to pay attention as well, because mind has not got a body, it is immaterial. And so we took an example of perhaps even a posture last session. Sometimes we sit down, but knowingly or unknowingly, whether consciously or unconsciously, we move, okay, thinking, maybe I wish I had this, or I wish I want to do this. And it's quite seen sometimes even in like when babies are sleeping, if you just observe them, sometimes they move. And adults move as well in sleep sometimes. So we feel uncomfortable with the sensation that we are experiencing, and this is like a conflict. So the object and your body, there is a bit of a contact which is unpleasant, and so we try to move. So when there is an unpleasant state or condition, we try to adjust, seeking some sort of comfort or pleasure, or even wishing it was better. And that is quite a norm or a habit of people. Oh, it's so nice. And then again we say, oh, maybe I wish this was like this. And it sometimes proliferates to such a level that, oh, and my one is better at home, or the one that I had was better. So we always get dissatisfied even by a simple physical experience that we generate or have. So unconsciously our mind is seeking some sort of pleasure through the interests or through the attachment that the mind develops. But it goes through the body, which we are sometimes unaware of. So that's why when we meditate, we make a commitment that I'm not going to move, and this is the posture, this is the final posture, because it becomes another tool at the given moment to focus on how your mind responds to the experience. So if you're mindful, you will see the experience, you will be with the experience. If you're not mindful, we automatically do itching, or we move, or we straighten up. So they happen sometimes automatically, because unconsciously or subconsciously we do that movement. So a mindful person, or person that has developed or trained the mind, actually will see this happening. So even in a physical body, when we seek for different types of pleasure or different type of encounter or experience, we wish something. So there is always a comparison made. There is always wishing for the better. Now, when we say wishing for the better, it is a judgment, it is a dislike or dissatisfaction, which brings obviously a form of unhappiness, dukkha, then turns into anger. And then we seek something that we like or we have in the mind, so we go for that. So now that is just an example with the body and a small bodily experience. But if we look deeply, if you consider deeply, do we not do this even when we have our eyes wide open, when we walk, when we talk, when we watch television? Every moment there is something that is happening, perhaps unconsciously, if you're not mindful, that we're always seeking for the different or the other or more or an alternative. And the mind is doing this without knowing, perhaps without you knowing, and it's always going. So therefore we have, like in the Dhammapada, we have a stanza saying, Durangamam ekacharam asarirang guhasayam. Asarirang means the mind has not got a body. So when we can't have the body sit for 5 minutes, 10 minutes, 20 minutes, 30 minutes, how can the mind stay for 1 second? Or after a couple of minutes, the mind starts getting bored as much as the body starts feeling uneasy with any posture that you take. So this boring mind has the tendency to actually quickly shift from one object to another. Now whether that is happening with your awareness or not is where. Now lots of meditators or even beginners, what they do is they personalize this thing. Oh, I can't, my mind is wandering all the time, I just can't meditate. And that is the nature of the mind. Even that personalization is not right. We just have to realize that this is the way mind works. This is the way mind works. It shifts, it has the tendency to shift from one object to another. So a person who is developing mindfulness will look at this and how the mind actually works. So we are not enforcing judgment, we are not filtering the information and saying like this is it, or this is the way it has to be, or it shouldn't be this way, there shouldn't be, my mind shouldn't be doing this. We don't form such opinions. Those are reactions. We don't even get involved with the object that the mind grasps. Mind will be shifting from perhaps a sensory experience to maybe even a thought. Now, when I said earlier, she said that physical experience is proliferating into some sort of connections that you make. Now, when that happens, even when you are awake or when you're unconscious, can't your mind do that as well when it is actually in a dream world? There's so much connectivity we make. So a mindful person will be observing this happening and will not actually continue or will not move on from the moment it happens. The mindful person will be aware of it happening. So from a thought that might have arisen, maybe a sadness, so then what could it be? It will be an incident of a person, and then the person comes to your mind. And if you're not aware that your mind has shifted from your breathing to that person, then you'll start thinking of the incident that happened. And if the intensity of the incident might even make you think more connections, then, oh, this person was there in that time, or this happened to me, why me, why this? So there's so much of proliferation, or the mind becomes so engaged with the thought process. Sometimes you forget you're meditating. So this is quite a norm, and that's why I used the example last time. When your mind is engaged completely, hooked into, for example, a teleprogram, your body doesn't ache. You can stay in that posture for 3 hours, or maybe perhaps half an hour. And as soon as the advertisement comes, then you feel the pain in your back, or you feel that you have to do something. So the nature of the mind is that it gets attracted to something that is entertaining itself. Sometimes a thought might do this when we are meditating. So a trained person will see that there's a shift between these objects. So if you are really mindful, so when you are being with the object like breath, and the mind moves, you have to be aware of that happening. If it is going, if you pull it back, then you let it go and bring it back to your breathing. Don't stay there. Don't get involved with that thought. Don't get involved with any thought that comes. Recognize it happening. I remember using this acronym, ABC. The awareness is for A. So you develop that awareness. You are developing this awareness. And then you're being with the experience. So you are knowing that the breathing is taking place. And if it is shifting, so you are aware that it is moved to another object. And then because you know it's happening, then you have a choice whether to stay with it or whether to let it go and come back to breathing. If you are not mindful, then you don't have a choice. It was happening automatically, as I said earlier. So you have a choice what to do when you are mindful. So if you were breathing and you're mindful and your mind went to maybe the pain, if you didn't know that the mind shifted like this, you will actually starting to get involved with the pain, get involved with the thought, get involved with the memories. And if you're aware, you develop this power of choice. whether to engage with it, get involved with it, or to let it go and come. And you know when you get involved with it, you are then becoming a puppet again. Then you start again trying to rewrite the stories, and all the things starts happening. Why? The victimization, everything happening. So the mindfulness is developing that power of choice, whether to be where you are or whether to let go and then come back, and not like the body. You can tell the body to stay there like this, like in meditation, as commitment with great effort. But you can't do with the mind unless you be mindful of its transition. So Udayavaya is word is used in the mind, the Satipatthana, is seeing it arise, seeing it go. Okay? Because when it goes to another object, it is ceasing as well. Okay? So be aware of that, be mindful of that. So be mindful of how the mind works. Chitte chittanupassi. So the mind is a platform. Be the third person observing how the mind works. And then, as always, the 3 R's. Don't stay there. Let it go. Come back to breathing. Okay? So this is the way we develop mindfulness. Recognize, release, return. So with that short reflection, we will do our meditation for 25 minutes. So sit straight. If you are adjusting your seat, that's fine. You can adjust your seat. The sitting posture is quite important because you'll be sitting with it or in that posture for about a couple of minutes. Most important is your back staying or keeping it straight, upright. So once you've adjusted your posture, just be determined. If you're sitting on a chair or a sofa, make sure your feet are firm, you're not swaying your feet. And then right hand on your left palm, gently over your lap, and you can notice, okay, just keep yourself calm and relaxed. If you're sitting on the floor, make sure you also don't lean your back on the wall or a chair or a sofa. When we are sitting on the floor, we have a tendency that we want to lean our back. Avoid that if possible, unless you have a serious physical difficulty. So to settle our mind, it is important to give a mind a job to do slowly, so that you are breaking that habit of wandering unconsciously all the time. So imagine the mind is a person or something that you give a job to be done. So scan the body, so observing the body from head to toe. You can do a slow scan, simply to be mindful of the presence of things rather than trying to look for things. When we are scanning body, we are not looking for things. We are observing the presence of things such as upright head. No judgment, as it is, observing the shoulders, hanging arms, elbows, and right hand on your left palm. If you notice the warmth, observe, and as it is, no comment. The touch of the clothing against your hand, the touch of your hands, observe as it is, as they are. No judgment, no comments, not looking for things or not wanting extra things. Observe as they are. Even if your mind gets to some sensation, just observe as they are. Coming back to your shoulders, observe the straight, upright back, your spine. Body seated. Those who have had a hard day might notice any tense muscles, otherwise your sitting posture, the way you are sitting, the touch, the pressure of your body. And slightly bent at the knees, feet firmly on the floor, otherwise the side of your legs touching the floor. Notice the touch. So be mindful of your body as a whole, straight, calm, composed posture. You don't sit like this at other times. So this is a commitment, a dedication, a sign of your determination and commitment. So once you observe the whole posture, perhaps being determined that you're not going to move for the next few minutes, even slightest way, will help you to train your mind firm. Even if you have an itchiness, you're not going to move. Even if you have a slight pain, you'll try not to move, so that you can observe the way the mind functions. And that posture actually is a reflection of the state of your mind. The way the mind is calm and peaceful. If your mind was restless, it would not stay like that. So Kaya Anupassi would be about observing how the mind works along with, or what the observation of the body as it is. No judgment, no comments, but simply observing the body as it is at the moment. So be mindful of other people that may be sitting with you, or even those that do not sit with you but are at home. Be mindful of the online community. We're all meditating, and be mindful of where you are at home, your location-wise. And gradually coming to your breath now. Observe the breath by first noticing that you are actually breathing. At other time it wasn't obvious because we were focusing on the scanning of the body. Now be mindful that you are breathing. And when you breathe, you take a breath in and you release that. So we call it in-breath, out-breath. Be mindful that you are actually breathing. Breathing in, breathing out. And that's all you have to give the mind to do. The job to observe the in-breath and out-breath. Breathing in, breathing out. Breathing in, breathing out. as you breathe in, you'll slowly notice that the mind or the breath is a regular breathing taking place. Your breath is taking place, and you can see there is a pattern developing. You'll just see that the breath is taking place, perhaps on its own, without any effort. Breathing in, breathing out. If the state of mind doesn't change, the breath doesn't change. Same pattern, breathing in, breathing out. And all you have to be is with that breath, noticing the in-breath and out-breath. You can take the whole journey to notice the duration. As it starts, be mindful of the start and then the continuity of the breath and the stopping of the in-breath. Starting to breathe out, continuing to breathe out, and the stopping of that out-breath. Breathing in, breathing out. Just notice the entire route, as if you're starting your journey from your nostrils, right through your nostrils to the end of your lungs and coming out. Just be with that breath, very precious. Don't regulate it, don't control it, but let it happen naturally and observe the breath. Just notice the pattern, the changes, and as it is, without regulating, they take place. Sometimes the body refreshes as you breathe in, and sometimes your upper body shrinks, relaxing the body. So when you see this breath as a whole, along with the body as well, breathing in, breathing out. Remember the 3 R's should your mind wander. Recognize, release, and return. recognizing where it is, what channel. Is it the hearing? Not listening, hearing, thinking. Not what you're thinking, but just the act of thinking, planning. If it is what worry or anxiety, just notice as it is. If it is happiness, as it is. Don't stay there. Don't even think it is good or bad. Let it go. Recognize it. Let it go. Come back to your breathing. if you're interested in continuing to practice mindfulness-based breathing meditation and the subsequent strategies, please do join us every Thursday. Otherwise, other days we share our Buddha Puja, chanting and meditation on loving kindness. So, thank you for joining us today. Stay safe, take care, have a very good night. See you tomorrow at 7 o'clock.